video is going to tell you about the basic elements of organizational structure. Work specification. The first element that affects the structure of an organization is how tasks are subdivided into separate jobs. Is a job completed by an individual, or is it broken down into separate steps and completed by several individuals? Think about the work in a car factory. One worker is putting the wheels on, the other one is putting the motor on. What about if a one worker would do all of those tasks? Would it be as efficient? Earlier, managers used very high specialization in work descriptions, which meant that the worker performed one very specific task over and over again every day. It was noticed that the effectiveness increased highly with high work specialization, and also the worker's skills to perform that specific task also increased, and thus became even more efficient. Of course, there are also downsides in high work specialization. Think what would happen if your only task in your work would be to attach one specific screw in some specific element. It wouldn't take very long before you would feel bored, unmotivated, tired, stressed, less productive, and maybe you would be more likely to be absent from work more and more often. These are all the downsides that may occur if work specialization is taken too far. So the specialization of work or division of labor is very useful and almost vital to some extent. You don't want that your employees are over or underskilled for some of their tasks, but you want to keep them motivated and effective. One solution could be to form teams that include differently skilled workers to complete some tasks together as a team. The managers could also provide training to widen their workers' skills so that they are able to perform wider variety of tasks. Balancing the work specialization has nowadays become more important element in designing an organizational structure in order the organization to be most productive, effective and profitable.
Span of control was developed in the UK in 1922 by Sir Ian Hamilton. It is the number of people who report to the superior. Therefore, it is the amount of subordinates who communicate to a particular executive. Moreover, it is an important term to be understood by businesses, especially small ones, since managers tend to end up with a wider than necessary span of control. Span of control is differently known as management ratio. The latter is useful in management schools, large organizations, educational institutions, military, etc. Based on the study of Hamilton, it was concluded that one cannot effectively control more than 6 people, and later on this was proved mathematically. As significant as span of control is, a lot of entrepreneurs refuse to abide it and limit their number of people for which they can directly oversee. The quality of work will decrease as managers' number of subordinates increases and exceeds the optimal level. This happens as a result of reports being done individually and directly, not indirectly as part of a hierarchy. It is also important not to misunderstand the controls done from a CEO as span of control and the fact that they indirectly control hundreds of employees. The CEO's span of control includes head departments who directly inform the CEO for delicate matters concerning the company directly. In conclusion, entrepreneurs and small businesses need to pay attention to their span of control, especially during their first steps of establishing their business, due to overextending the number of people and causing for them to lose control of their own operations. Chain of command, sometimes called the scalar chain, refers to a company's hierarchy of reporting relationships from the top positions like a CEO or owner of business, down to workers on the front line. Top of the organization direct and control the activities of the organizational members below them. A proper chain of command ensures that all of the tasks, job positions, and departments have one person assuming responsibility for performance. All levels need to have superior from whom they can ask questions or report problems.
One of the concepts under this topic is authority. which refers to the rights inherent in a managerial position to tell people what to do and to expect them to do it. The other one is responsibility, which means the obligation to perform any assigned duties. Pros of chain of command. Every employee has one boss, which alleviates the problem of multiple masters in the chain of command. Responsibilities and accountability is clearly assigned. Every manager has responsibility for a group of employees performing. Employees are not confused for whom to go for assistance, resources and feedback. There is certain simplicity and security to organize people and relationships in a structured, unbending and controlled hierarchical way. Assigning department managers to supervise employees and report to general managers or CEOs can save time and money and increase productivity, service quality and profit. Cons of chain of command. Information and communication options are limited. Decision-making and authority is clearly placed in hands of few individuals and on the top of an organization chart. Today's organization is more intellectually challenging, information-based jobs, and there is need for faster decision-making. This structure is in many ways on the way of new organizational options and needs. The need for flexibility and fast decisions is not possible with this structure. Waiting many days boss to be available is not acceptable, especially if customer needs quick responding. Jobs are no longer sharply defined, which makes chain of command difficult to create fairly and correct way. If employees frequently ignore the chain of command, it may affect the morale of supervisors and managers. Companies with unclear chain of command can cause uncertainty and chaos, which affect to morale of all workers in organization, which can lead to employee turnover and lower productivity.
Centralized and decentralized organizational structures. Definition: the degree to which authority is dedicated within an organization. A centralized structure has a greater degree of control, while a decentralized structure involves a greater degree of delegated authority to the regions or to subordinates. Centralized organizational structures rely on one or few individuals to make decisions and provide direction for the company. Small businesses often use this structure since the owner is responsible for the company's business operations. Big businesses, such as McDonald's or other fast food chains, also use centralized organizational structures. However, big companies are never absolutely centralized. Some degree of authority distribution is needed. Decentralized organizational structures often have several individuals responsible for making business decisions and running the business. Power and authority to make decisions have delegated from the head office to lower and local levels. Decisions are made in relation to local circumstances. Decentralized organizations rely on a team environment at different levels in the business. Individuals at each level in the business may have some autonomy to make business decisions. This results in less uniformity among different branches of the company. Hotel chains and most big organizations use a decentralized structure. Pros of centralization: consistent policies, tight financial control, standardized procedures, identical branches. Cons of centralization: several layers of bureaucracy, slower decision making, inappropriate decisions on local levels, decreases motivation of local managers. Pros of decentralization: reduces communication with head office, business is more flexible, increases motivation of local managers, local knowledge. Cons of decentralization: multiple individuals with different opinions. Local managers might not see the bigger picture for the company. Customers might prefer the uniformity of branches.